So we've got at current count around 120 participants, so that's fantastic. So thank you everyone for dialing in. We've also been asked if this will, the recording of this webinar will be made public, and that's correct. It will be on the website. So just to confirm that. And finally, another kind of consultation related question is around how the feedback that we get, how that will be shared with you. So there will be a consultation report that goes in with the planning application, which will outline the feedback that we've received and how we're responding to that. So you'll be able to see all of that then. Just to kind of answer a few of the initial questions that have been coming through then. We've got quite a lot of people asking about the green spaces and welcoming the plans for green space. We've got a question here around how those green spaces will be maintained in the long run. So Stuart, I don't know if you want to jump in on that one.
It's not been determined yet, but on other similar schemes, it will either be council-led maintenance engaging with the council's teams, or there'll be a separate management company set up to deliver the maintenance of the spaces. It's not been determined yet, and it's a conversation, given how early it is in the life of the scheme, that we'll have with the council. And, you know, it'll be who's best placed to do it. It's normally what the answer comes down to. But yeah, it is important, and it's identifying it now. So before we go in for planning, we'll be engaging with the council's maintenance team. And it's not just the maintenance of the spaces. Well, sorry, it is, but it's how we design them to make them easily maintainable. And there's really simple tricks that Lindsay's got multiple years of experience of. Not saying he designs the wrong thing, but he knows what not to do. So
I think just picking up on that, I think maintenance is something that we do get asked an awful lot. It's one of the first things that we try to understand who. Exactly, it's a strong question. Who's going to be maintaining it? We're trying to design places that can be flexible, usable, functional. So I would also hope that some of these spaces could start to maybe generate some revenue, which will help to contribute towards the ongoing upkeep. So we try to design spaces that are valuable, not that just become leftover bits of green. And I think every project, or with the projects that we're working on, but on all the projects we try to do, that is the. If you can sweat the asset of the place and create the value in the public spaces and streets, they will generate an income which helps to maintain them. And whether that's a management company that is looking after them, or the local authority, or a top up to the local authority, you know, there are lots of mechanisms to do this. But if we think about the design of the space, the robustness of the materials, putting in what's below the ground is as important day one as above the ground, to make sure that we're not digging things up as we go along, and thinking of long life of this. That ties back into the sustainability point, which Stuart mentioned at the beginning as well. It's thinking of these projects for the next 50, 100 years rather than just the next 15, 20 years. So it's investing now for the future.
Thanks, Lindsay. Got a comment here saying, love the sense of arrival concept at the tram station. But we've also got someone that's asking how that's going to work with the Metrolink area being outside of the red line. Lindsay, do you want to take that one?
Should we pick up that, Rebecca, as well? Because there are more slides further on, aren't there, that just start to explore, and we could maybe describe that in a bit more detail as part of those future slides, perhaps, rather than at this level. I don't, or I can pick it up now. I think just the point around it's outside the red line, that there's already been a level of dialogue, initial conversations with TFGM to try and understand what their ambitions are for more multimodal travel as well. So we're working with TFGM on other projects where these kind of projects, the regeneration aspects of these, are trying to get more footfall to the tram as well. So they're part of that picture. TFGM is not just the tram, it's the cycle connectivity. It's whether we can get a hub and work with them to get a cycle hub at that point. Those kind of conversations need to happen, and we would hope that they would be open to that, to be able to develop some ideas on the back of these ideas that we can then work collectively to generate a much wider regeneration piece. Hopefully that's answered the question, although I'll pick it up later.
Probably just to add to that, Lindsay, you're quite right. So we've had some early dialogue with TFGM. They're quite keen and supportive and positive about greening that space and seeing how we can work with the rest of the Prestwich Regeneration project. but really importantly, and I think John's already mentioned it in his discussions, is ensuring accessibility, taxi pickup drop off. So it's just making sure that all works with the de-engineering of Rectory, so that it's certainly not a park and everyone has to move and walk 200 yards to get anywhere anymore. So there's just that balance to be had, but they're really, really keen. So there's a series of engagement to have before we go through that detailed design phase.
Thanks both. Another comment here, not a question, but a comment. Agree about restoring connectivity and good to look at historic routes. We've also got a question here about, I'm concerned about the longevity of the buildings. How long do you expect them to be standing and usable? John, that one for you?
You're on mute, John. That's probably design life of a building. 100 years is normally substructure and frame and masonry, glass, and about 50, 60 years. Sorry, John, I'm jumping in, but yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I can just reaffirm what you've just said there. So 100 years plus, and again on fabric of the building, glass, cladding, you are looking at somewhere in the region of 50 or 60 years minimum. Now, of course, that's very, very detailed in terms of specifications. That, you know, we're a long way off from that, but I would like to think this, you know, the fabric of the buildings that we're looking at would certainly be in and around that region.